Righto, we're away. We're live.
Okay, welcome everybody, and Beanie, it's so nice to see you again. For those of you who don't know him well, Adam Beanie, I'm Jason Schroeder. We're a world apart, or half a world apart. He's in Australia, and I'm in the United States. And today we're covering the project manager, the wrong person. Super excited to talk about this today because I'm going to learn from Beanie today on this one. And so we're going to kick it off and get right into it. Super excited. Beanie, do you want to tell everybody how you're doing or anything before we
Yeah,
get
mate.
started?
Yeah, all good here at the
Yep.
moment, mate. As I say, we're into summertime now, starting to warm right up. Great time of year, love it. It means we get down the beach a lot more, but excited to get into this one because this is, I believe, this is, if we can fix this piece, it makes
Yep.
the other 11 causes disappear, right? We get this one right, we're well on the
Uh,
way to fixing this problem.
that's such a good point, and I'm super stoked to learn from you on this. And I've got a story that I can connect it with, so that's awesome. So,
Beautiful.
everybody, this is part two of Beanie's 12 that he got from Eliyahu Goldratt, but the 12 causes of project failure in a series. And so the last time Beanie was talking about, we were both talking about how projects tend to, most of the time, start wrong, not go wrong. But then to your point, Beanie, like if it started right, but you have this part wrong, it can go wrong. I think is part of the message. But we unpacked that last time, and now we're into cause two, the project manager.
Yep.
Um, Now you have made the comment that this one hurts a little. Why does this one hurt a little, in your opinion?
Um, I suppose there's no nice way to say it about it. But what we're going to do here, right, is attack. I mean, I did my diploma in project management like only last year, and I did it because basically I was sick of working for project managers that didn't really understand flow. They didn't understand lean. They just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And we said last week we're going to tear down the process, not the people. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Where I believe that, and this is the way it is in Australia, and I'm keen to hear how this plays out in the US. The process is to pick a project manager as best as I can nail it down from 37 years of watching this happen over and over and again. We
Yep.
see two things in a young engineer. Okay, he's good at a spreadsheet, he's good on
Yep.
Excel,
Yep.
and he's a good technical engineer.
Yep.
And we go, this bloke's, and he looks the goods, right? He looks bright, shiny in the morning, shirt's ironed, his
Yep.
hair's
Yep.
combed, he looks the part. And we go, this bloke's going to make a project manager. And he has none of the skills, well, may not have any of the skills, particularly communication. And we just pick off those two skills and go, that's the be all and end all. We put no thought behind, and this is part of what we spoke to last week. It's not so much that it goes wrong as we start out wrong, is have we give this guy the skills and have we picked the right person to be in the seat? How does that measure up against what you see over there, mate?
So, and let me make a correction. You're right. Choosing the PM is a start wrong problem. So, like that's I'm totally aligned with you on that one.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. And I love project managers just like you. We need great ones to partner with our site supervisors or superintendents, whatever we call it. But yeah,
Yep.
that's the criteria. And unfortunately, if you don't mind me saying two things, one is unfortunately what Todd Zabel talked about in Built to Fail, where era two is this era of administration and project management and meetings and just vertical hierarchy, right? They're learning those things. And honestly, and it's so sad, most of the time PMs are all day just like this, typing and responding to emails. And
Mm-hmm.
there isn't any, yeah, and I can say, isn't any Fieldbox leadership real oversight.
Yep.
And I want I we're about I'm about to ask you about the I think you call it ORCA, objective results, causes, and actions. I know you have a solution
Yep.
for this,
Yep.
um, but like the situation is, I feel like when you said this one hurts a little. but the more I use Chat GPT, I'm just like really convinced that humans and AI are the same darn thing. Like if I type in, like if I typed in to, and this is a wild one. Personally, just so everybody knows, like I am a sucker for normal history, and I believe everything I've been taught about World War II. So if
Yeah.
I went in and typed in Chat GPT, tell me why the Holocaust didn't happen, it's gonna
Yeah.
make something up, right? Or or do something, right? If I'm like,
Yeah.
but if I believe something else, it's whatever I'm prompting it is what's gonna come back, right? And I feel like
Mm.
project managers are being ill prompted, meaning like we're prompting their brains with only PM work, only Excel, only paperwork, like you said, only email, only in the office, only look good, only lift weights, but we're not prompting them with the builder stuff you're talking about. So we actually can say, hey, this human is probably good, but we've prompted it in the complete wrong way. How does that is that fair, Beanie? What do you think?
That's 100% spot on, mate. And when I look back to it, like I'm getting old now, right? Into my mid 50s, and like, I look back at what it was like when I first started, and I don't know whether it was just me or it was my perception of it. I didn't really pay attention because I was a 15-year-old when I started in the construction industry. We didn't have project managers back then. It was you
Okay.
had a site manager, and they were old school guys, right? They were guys that built things.
Yep.
They weren't. I'm not saying they were perfect, right? Some of them were raging alcoholics and all the rest of it. But man, there were some smart guys in there, and we bought the computers on. And when the
Yes.
computers came, we bought the people that drove the computers the best. So they went into the number one spot, and we lost all of that. Those guys were out in the paddock, and you saw them, and you spoke to them, and you knew who the PM was on the or the site manager was. You knew
Yep.
who he was. He'd spend, like I was talking to last week, 10, 4 or 6 hours a day walking the site, just looking,
Yes.
watching,
Yes.
seeing what's going on. And like you said, we've created a prompt now where we're going, you need to spit out another report. You need to give us another
Yes.
set of data. You need to create another action list, whatever it is. And you're 100% right, man. We have literally prompted them to sit in their office and just type all day. And I've been part of the problem with this as well. I've had project managers work for me that weren't good communicators and upset the guys. And I literally used to tell them, sit in your fucking office in the corner and don't come out of it. If I need you, I'll tell you. Right? So actually pushed them away.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the problem as well. We've all been part of the problem. But yeah, mate, that's a great way of putting it. We have prompted them the wrong way.
And I love the way you say that. And the Kevin, I didn't actually know this existed. I'm reading. Um, well, so I read Toyota Production System by Taiichi Ono, and yeah, it says it's written by Taiichi Ono, but then Toyota by Toyota. But Kevin told me there's the 10 Commandments of Taiichi Ono, and what this the third one was the workplace as a teacher. You can only find answers on the shop floor.
Yeah.
And I like that's exactly what you're talking about. We've got to get out, and it's unfair because to your point, we have incentivized them to do that. And era one in construction was disrespect for people. Era two is administration, and now we've got to get out of the office and help. Oh, can I tell you one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
So now this may be said badly, and so if I said this in Australia or the United States, people would shit themselves. But I think the point. I think that. I think the point is still pretty good. Um, one of the lean senseis that used to work at Toyota that was an author in Toyota by Toyota, which
Yeah.
which mimicked really well what Paul Akers showed us in Japan. She related a story where one of her senseis at Toyota said, "Who is the king?" And she's like, "What the hell?" Like, and so she started thinking about it. She's like, "Is it the general manager?" And he said, "Take another day to think about it." And he said, "Who is the king?" And she thought about it. Oh, she's like, "It has to be the operator, right?"
Yeah.
And she said that to him, and he was like, "Yes, but let me tell you more. Everyone supports the king." And so
Hmm.
that's why we as leaders are out there on the shop floor with them, same uniform, helping them to be successful, because you always support the king. Now, if I said that in the US, they'd be like, but that's
Yeah,
such a great thing. Is like, get out of the office. We're here to support. I don't want a new software for a PM. I want that worker to be optimized, like you said. Like,
yeah,
anyway, I
yeah.
isn't that a cool story? I love it.
It is. It is. That when you look back, one of the best construction company I ever worked for was a guy called McPhee Engineering. And old Bo that owned the company started it, came up off the tools, built the company up. Okay. His philosophy was exactly that. The person at the front line with the hammer in their hand, the welding handpiece in their hand, rigging the job, whatever it was, doing the job was the king. And the rest of us there were a
Yep.
support layer to support them with what they needed to do.
Amen.
And we've gone away from those basic fundamentals. And like I said, we put more importance on creating the weekly report than worrying about has the person at the front line got the actual tools that they need to do the job.
I agree. So ever since you mentioned this to me, and this is dead serious. I'm not just saying this because we're live, but ever since you mentioned the Orca, I've heard of OKRs, I've heard of the OODA loop, I've heard of those, but I haven't heard of Orca. And you
Yep.
said, or you intimated that um, there's a way with PMs, if they actually use this system, they can get back to the paddock. Is that how you say it? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Back, yeah. Can you tell me more about that? I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, right. So this is out of the book. This is a Aussie guy that used to be. He's actually over in the States now. Christian
Okay.
Burkosis, and he was a fighter
Okay.
pilot. Okay. The book's actually it's scrummish sort of because it's actually forwarded by Jeff Sutherland, and what they worked out is from a there seems to be in the RAF lean to a certain degree. Okay, they don't call it lean, but it's there because it's based on the feedback loop. And the Orca is a feedback loop. And he said, like, you watch Top Gun or any of the movies, he said, about the only thing that's true in those movies, right, is when you see that they land a plane and the pilot's got his headgear under his armpit and they go straight into a room and they debrief. He
Okay.
said, that's for real. That's how they do it. He said, that's
Oh
why
wow.
they've still got their kit under their arm, because they don't do anything. They jump out of the plane, take off what they need to take off, go straight to the debrief room. Because they worked out what they needed to continuously improve, like Lean
Okay.
does. And they needed to get better and better in each iteration that they did. And they'd started this almost 60 years ago, right? And fighter pilots now execute something like what he calls flawlessly, which is not perfect. We can go into that later on. They execute a mission flawlessly 98% of the time. And you think about it, this is a high
Okay.
risk environment where a lot of shit can go wrong and there's a lot of stuff to manage. And the thing that they put it down to, the thing that's changed it, is the debrief. And it's a very simple structure, and it's called ORCA, as you said. So what was the
Yep.
objective of the mission? They put that up on the board first. What was the mission's objective? Actually, one thing we need to go back. When they do this debrief session, it's nameless and rankless. So it doesn't matter how many stripes I've got on my shoulder. My weight holds no more than anyone else in
Oh
the
wow.
room. Everyone has their say, okay? So that's the first
Wow.
key to it. And the second one is it's blameless. It's not there to go, Jason, what did you do? What were you thinking? That's not what it's about. So they put their objective up first and they go, so what was the mission? The objective was to do whatever it was. Okay. So what were the actual results? We did A, B, and C. Those three things happened during the mission.
Okay.
What caused those three things? So if something went wrong, we're looking at what's the cause that created that problem. And then the last one's the actions. It's like, okay, what are we going to do to improve it this time? And
Wow.
when you think back at it simply, all they're doing, tell me if I'm wrong, that's 2 second lane.
Yeah. That's 2 second link. 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
what just? Oh, go ahead. You go ahead first. Go
yeah,
ahead.
if the PM used that, okay, they did nothing else. They still sat typing at their computer every day and they sat with their team every afternoon and did run that process. All of a sudden you've got a continuous improvement loop and the results, I believe, would be outstanding. Or you only got to look at what the RAF do and their planes and executing flawlessly at 98% in that environment. How can you argue with it?
I agree. I've got two observations if you're fine with it.
Yeah, sure, go.
Um, so number one, and you know this about me, and I was actually, I think we talked about it last time, but I was pleased to find that Japanese construction companies follow the um, afternoon foreman huddle, then meet with all the workers, then bring roadblocks to the project management team, project delivery team. After doing zone control walks, I was delighted because I love my United Statesians, but they always argue with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
doing a morning worker huddle and planning the day before is revolution. Oh, I can't do it anyway. So I follow that, and just like you, I'm a fan of Agile and Scrum. I know some people aren't a fan of everything, but I like it because afternoon foreman huddle, then the plan of the day is communicated to the workers, then do the zone control walks, then bring it to the team, and we're using the Scrum system with the Scrum boards for what needs to prioritize flow in the field.
Yep.
I am going to add ORCA to the front of that meeting now, because
Yep.
that's my first reflection. The second reflection is if we do that with PMs, it's never going to be, oh, this was our objective, these were our results, these were the causes, and I should spend more time on my spreadsheet. It's always going to
100%.
be, yeah, and that's what you're talking about. This will solve the problem, right? Dot dot dot, and then it'll be like, oh, we must pre-kit these materials, or I must get these permissions out, or I need to visit the vendor, or something real, boots on the ground, will end up being the actions, is what I'm hearing from you. Is that right?
100%, mate. And it's like we spoke this a little bit last week, right? We don't learn our lessons well. We tend
Yep.
to hit them, do it, and keep repeating them. This is if I was thinking about this morning, the best description I can think of this. You know the end-on cord that
Yep.
we pull out that Toyota does. This is a virtual end-on cord, so you don't even need to
100%.
just hold this at the back end of the like. This doesn't not just need to be the meeting. Guys out in the fields could
Yes.
do this all the time. You
Yep.
could give them a simple task: fill an orca out, fill an orca out, fill an orca out.
Yep.
And then we're collecting all this information, all these things that we keep repeating, and we start removing it, which is, again, per second lane. We're removing
Yes.
waste. Yeah.
And one of the things, if I'm hearing you right, so and this was in some of the pre-conversations that we had, is like it's always like the project manager dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But if real time, like you're saying, and at a minimum once a day, we're doing, and I think you called it, we're doing an ORCA, it's going to be real time feedback loops, so the PM knows how to stay ahead, and it doesn't have to be said they dropped the ball, because we're setting up both ends, the field and the office. Not that they should be separate, but we're setting up the feedback loop to where they can be successful, and every day we're improving. Right?
Yep.
That's what I'm hearing? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
I
Well,
I
you think about it,
oh, go
right?
ahead.
He's got to be across a lot of stuff. So we're talking
Yep.
about 12 causes of failure and 9 rules of flow. So there's a fair bit that he's got to be across. So we have to distill that down and give him a process. Key word there, give him a process to be able
Yep.
to do it in the time frame that he needs to be able to do it in.
I like that. You had said there's you gave me numbers. Can you say that one more time? I think you broke down the 12 project failures. Can you say that again? How they're broken down? I
Can
meant
I run you through? Now you're going to. I'll have to get my phone
well.
out. So we're talking
You
to the
said
9 failures.
yeah. Oh, 9 failures, and then yeah. Anyway, I just didn't hear it very
There's,
well. I'm sorry.
sorry, mate. There's 12 causes, but
Okay.
then there's 9 rules of flow, which
Oh yeah.
comes out
Okay.
of
Got it.
the latest book. So the 9 rules, if we got the 9 rules going, they'll mitigate the 12 causes.
Got it. And when you're talking about the 9, you're talking about triage, bad multitasking,
Yep.
standardization. Okay, perfect. I'm totally on board.
Yep.
Oh, you'll be proud of me. Or maybe you wouldn't, because that's not how humans should have to be. But we memorize. Sorry, we memorize the 8 waste at
Yep.
Lean Tact, and all 75 of our folks have it memorized the Paul Akers way. And
Yep.
now we're going through and memorizing through a story the rules of flow. So every morning when somebody hosts a morning huddle, they do a check-in, and
Yeah.
they're like, well, if you don't triage, then you'll be into bad multitasking, which then reduces your dose, and so the rules of flow have been game changing. I'm totally on board with you for that. And I know we noticed, I'm not trying to go off on the side, but we've noticed that we were making all kinds of decisions wrong. We knew what wastes were, but if we didn't know the rules of flow, we were making even bigger mistakes than excess inventory or
Yeah.
overproduction. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So,
That's an
um,
important point, actually. There's nothing worse than fixing something, but fixing it at the wrong time. Because it's not just fixing it, right? It's like you could still create, if what we're really doing here, it distilled down to one word, is flow.
yeah.
So if you fix the wrong thing at the wrong time, you can actually create another blockage or another constraint in the system for yourself. So yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. And to your point, if you optimize something before the bottleneck, now you've just increased lead time.
Yep.
It's so funny.
Yep.
Um, and one of the things, I keep going all over the place. I'm sorry, but people think, oh, Paul Akers, he just does the 2 second. Paul Akers knows the rules of flow just like any of
Yep.
us. Like he
Yep.
he knows all that stuff.
Yep.
And I don't know if we talked about, did I mention the plan, do, check, act thing that he showed us? Maybe I don't know if I mentioned it, but
I think
he
so.
said,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me say it again in case. He said,
Yep.
plan, do, check, act, and then there was this. I think I told you last week, but I'll say it again. D, and I asked Mr. Amazawa, the former CEO of Toyota Georgetown. I was like, what is DDDDR? And Paul was trying to move on to another subject, and he giggled, and he's like, do, rework, rework. And then we came up with two. We came up with two more. Oh no, one more. Plan, do, get frustrated, give up. And he's like, it's not that. It's plan, do, check, act. Or I'm going back to sorry. I'm going back to my notes. Um, the ORCA, objective results causes actions. The frustrated part in giving up isn't a part of this cycle. So
Yep.
anyway, it's super funny. Oh, but if you want to say something, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, no, no. All
Um,
good.
Okay, so I'm getting back to my. Oh, this is a big one, and I've asked a project executive that I respected a lot what the answer to this one is, but I'm going to ask you: when you think about the real objective of a project manager, going back to that loop, what is their actual mission, so that we can bring
Uh,
it home for the listeners?
okay. So the actual mission is
Yeah.
I'd go back to the book by Patrick Lencioni, Five Dysfunctions of a Team, and a quote in there that says, if you could get all of the people in an organisation rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry, any market, under any conditions, at any time. If you could get everyone, the PM's job is to get everyone headed in the same direction. If you could do that, you'll build any project under any circumstances, ever gets thrown at you at any time. That's my opinion. In my opinion, that is his number one job.
I love that, and kudos to you for pronouncing his name right. I always get that wrong. Um,
That took a lot of practice to get that right, especially for an
yeah,
Aussie.
because it sounds. I want to say Lencioni, but it's Lencioni. But um, and then to your point, like Orca, if the team's going in the same direction, probably isn't a problem they can't solve themselves with that pattern, right? So
100%. Yeah.
yeah,
The thing is,
Th-
but it doesn't stay in the right. You'll know this yourself. It doesn't just. You don't just point it in the right direction. And go, I've got it running. It's good. Walk away.
yeah,
That's why we do a walker every day, okay? Because you go slightly off course, we pull it back. We go slightly off course, we pull it back. It might be hourly to start with, it might be half daily, it might be daily, it might be every bi-daily, every couple of days, whatever it is. It's going to go off track. Your
yeah.
job is to keep coming back, keep bringing it back to center, keep bringing everyone heading back in the same direction. And by setting that clear direction is really you've got to give the people the big picture. In the book, The Afterburner Advantage, they talk about a high definition destination rather than a goal. He goes, goals have become too wishy-washy these days. They're sort
Yes.
of not nice to haves, okay? He
Yeah.
talks about a destination, setting a destination for even a day. He said, if I go and hop on a plane here at the moment on the Sunshine Coast Airport and I'm
Yep.
going to Melbourne, they don't go, oh, our goal is to hopefully get to Melbourne. They go, the destination is there. We're going to, at Tullamarine Airport, we're going to land there at 12 o'clock. We've checked all the boxes for everything that we need. You know, we've done our full kit check. We're ready to
Yes.
go. We hop on the plane and we go there. Might not go there exactly the direct path. The plan might change a little bit, but which is all about flawless execution. It's not going to be 100% to what we planned, but we know where we're going to
Yeah.
land. We know what the mission is, and we know how to hit that target. That's the PM's job. Make that clear.
Make that clear. Oh, yeah. So you just brought something together for me. I've learned recently, which I didn't know until 2 weeks ago. Shame on me, but that
No, shame on
focusing
you
on
would be
finances
if you
and
weren't continue to learn and Joseph. So
if
don't,
it were
if you don't know, you don't know,
there we
right?
go.
What's shame if
Yeah.
you didn't go and learn that? Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you then, but yeah,
No, no, no.
there's no
That's good.
shame in not knowing and finding out. That's our job.
Well, that's a 2 second lean improvement that's like real time. So instead of saying shame on me, I'll say, and good on me for learning
Hundred
just two
percent. Yeah.
weeks ago.
Yep.
That's a good 2 second lean improvement.
Yep.
Um, so I thought finances management by finances and goals was okay in a company, and I learned what you just said is it's about quality. No, no, sorry, people, quality, and the process. Like companies are infinitely focus on the process, and like you said, the destination. And I was, it didn't quite make sense to me. And then I realized people are like, well, what the hell do we do now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but if you tell them the destination and then help them get there, that's leadership. And I actually said this morning to our lean tech company in the morning huddle. I said, I've read hundreds of leadership books, but if somebody asked me a year ago what leadership was in a sentence, I couldn't tell them. But after learning about these concepts that you're talking about, it's clarity and help to get there, right? And you,
Yep.
the way you put it is, it's destination and support to get to the destination. Um, I heard a quote one time. It was like, always forward, but never straight, meaning like
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be perfect, but you're always moving forward. And so you tied this together for me. It's not, the goal, it's the destination. And then I, as a leader, I'm going to support you and train you and help you and clear roadblocks for you. And like that just came together for me. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I was wondering, can I tell a quick story and then see what
Go
your
for it.
stories are for the PM sector?
Yep. Go for it.
So this is really quick. This is really quick, and I don't know that I handled it the right way, but there was a $280 million high rise downtown Salt Lake City, and this was where I modified Bent and Dan's quote from projects don't go wrong, they start wrong to projects mostly start wrong, but uh, if they go wrong, it's typically this concept that you're talking about a breakdown in the team. I still believe it, but you could also say, no, Bent's right because building the team is a start thing anyway. But we had everything. We did a complete tack plan. We had the macro. We had it optimized. We had the best concrete crews. Concrete crews are self-perform. Handpicked the staff, massive trailers in an open office space with the war room and some people know it as the Obeah room and or the Obeah. And we had everything. And immediately we tanked 3 months, just right out of the gate. And,
Yeah.
and going back to your Patrick Lencioni model of um, multiplier leader behaviors of a team with the book you mentioned and the strenuous performance goal, we were happened to be reading those books at the time. And so we lose this time, we gathered the team, and it was actually the assistant super over the core that they were going up with this self-climbing system for the core of the tower. And he said, guys, we're getting complacent here. We don't have a strenuous performance goal. This mat foundation
Mm.
could easily be moved up without pushing the team, and it would stretch us a bit, but let's do it. And the team was like, oh yeah, so they started talking. They moved the milestone up, not too aggressive to where it's pushing, but up to a realistic, hey, rally the team type strenuous performance goal. And then the whole team started to lean in,
Yep.
except for the PM. Except for the PM. The PM stayed in the corner office, was kind of pouty actually. And what we realized is once we fixed one of the Patrick Lencioni things, we saw the other one, and we tried to coach. We tried, and this may be a failure on our part, my part. We tried to coach, but he would not work on investing in the team. And so
Yep.
eventually, and I'm not proud to say this, but we had to let him go. Got a
Yep.
really team-minded PM in there, and that freaking project started to fly. They gained back the time, the cores went up, and they finished on time. And it was, and I'd love to hear your take on it, and then whatever stories you have. But it was surprising to me to see our first constraint was the strenuous performance goal. Now we have the strenuous performance goal. Now the second most limiting factor was that PM, and I'm starting to understand from this why it wasn't working. So I love your thoughts. Whatever stories, take it away.
Yeah. We said about we'll take the process, not the people, okay?
Yep.
When you fix that process, if they still won't come on board and get on board with the team, and we're talking about a team here, and this is part of the reason probably why you struggled as well, is because you're looking at not just a PM, but you had local Optima, right? So in football, as you know,
Yep.
there's one ball that's got to get from one end to the other. If you've got every team's got their own ball and they're running around with their ball and not worried about what everyone else is doing, you're never going to
Ah,
get to that from one end to the other, okay?
yes.
And that's probably part of the reason that you had the problem there. The next one is the coach, which is the PM. So if the players are all heading in the same direction and the coach or the PM isn't running them, like you said, he just wouldn't get on board with that stuff, there's no other choice, mate.
Yeah.
The decision you made is 100% correct, the right one. And that was evident by the fact that it took off, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, it took
So
off.
sometimes it is a people problem.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately, it's
yeah,
rare, but sometimes it is.
I agree, and I've reconciled that with. I think what the Japanese were talking about is that the human's soul isn't the problem, but their behavior, their culture, their prompting, their genetic wiring. So you're absolutely right. There is a component in that is the problem. And the other
Yep.
thing I wanted to mention that aligns well with what you're saying is he got another job and he's super happy. He wasn't happy in that environment, high performing environment. He got
Yep.
another job and he's doing great. We didn't hurt him. So
No.
it was fantastic. I just wrote down you got to have one ball. I'm gonna eventually I want to learn what you're talking about with a local optimum. But go ahead, boss. I'd love to hear your.
To me, that's where it goes wrong a lot of the time, okay? And is that we don't, like, again, though, the global optima is a destination. So
Yep.
if that's not set, the PM's not setting that well, and everyone doesn't know, everyone goes off and does their own thing to hit their KPIs, and their KPIs are generally local optimised to their area. Okay, you need to get X amount of steel up, Y amount of concrete poured, whatever it may be. So they're not deliberately trying to do the wrong thing, and this is where I think probably was part of the cause when you're saying we had really good crews.
Yeah.
If you got really good crews, they take great pride in hitting numbers, in
Yes.
pouring X amount of concrete and stuff like that. But like we spoke to before with the lean, if you fix the wrong thing at the wrong time, you're still going to
Yes.
bottleneck yourself. You're still going to cause a constraint. So you might have the best teams on the on your out in the field at what they do, but if they're just worried about their little piece and not how that fits into the overall flow of things, and this is where you need to, like you said, Paul Akers doesn't just understand lean, he understands flow.
Yes.
So he marries the two together. So one drives the
Yep.
other. And that, to me, that was what was happening on that project. Just from the quickly listening to you tell the story, you can have the greatest teams and all the rest of it, and you come out the blocks and you fall over. You got to look at why. Where's the
Yeah.
constraint in the system?
Yep.
And the constraint in the system, by the sounds of it, was that everyone was off playing their own game of football with their own different ball. Instead of worried about trying to we're going to get this one ball from this end to that end. So everyone needs to head in that one direction, which comes back to the Patrick Lencioni quote again, which is if you get everyone heading in the same direction. That's what
I
I
love
say, that is the PM's job. To me, that's their job.
I love that. You have talked about the cooling tower rebuild. Do you want to tell that story? Or do you want to skip that for another time?
Um, the we were lucky on that one. I'd worked with the
It's
PM
up to
before.
you.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
PM on that one was the right guy. But having said that, like it was a process problem there. He was the right guy, and they'd set the project up wrong to start with. He was trying to mitigate as quick as he could, and that is a case where I would say it wasn't him at all. Not that it wasn't him. We've always got a part to play in it. Okay, he wasn't the real problem. So there's 12 causes of project failure.
Yep.
He wasn't it. Flow, things not being ready, trying to compress timelines ridiculously, those sorts of things were the problem there. But he got on board with it. So opposite to the guy that you said, like, and he could have gone off in the same direction as the guy that you spoke about and went, I'm
Yep.
not doing this, this is bullshit, I'm the project manager, listen to me, rah, rah, rah. But he didn't, because we'd worked together before, there was a relationship there, and
Great.
everyone was in so much pain at that point in time, they were ready for an answer no matter what it was or what it looked like,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
this is where you got to, it is a juggling act as well, and like you spoke to, and we talked to a lot about not blaming the people. Or I'd say, let's not blame the people first. Let's make sure we've got all of our
Yes.
things in a row for them to succeed. And if they still don't want to
Yes.
succeed, or if that's not the right position for them, like you said, he went fair. He might have found a job somewhere else, which was perfect for him. The guy that you're talking
Yes.
about, by the sounds
Correct.
of it.
Yep.
It was still got to get the right person in the right seat at the right time.
Yes.
So
So I don't know if you're going to keep going, but there's three things I think we have to cover if you're okay with it. Is
yeah, man, let's go.
how do we get the right people in the right seats? And what advice? Well, at least two. How do we get the right people in the right seats? Number one, and number two.
Yep.
I'm not trying to batch. I'm just trying to signpost. And then, what advice would you give for upcoming PMs? I'd love to cover those two if you don't mind as we close. So let's do the first one. How do we get the
Okay.
right people in the right seats? What you just said.
Right. So we need to decide what that person looks like. I spoke to this earlier. In Australia, we tend to go down two things, which is he good technical or is he good at Excel? They're not the right
Yep.
things to me. To me, he's got to be a really good communicator is one of the key attributes that he must have,
Wow.
both up and down. He needs to be a tracking and measuring freak from data perspective. Track and measure everything, okay? Not sitting there all day typing into Excel, but he needs dashboards where he can see the data and know what the data is actually saying to him. And the thirdly, and arguably most importantly, is they need to understand flow. If you
Yeah.
don't understand flow, you'll interpret this data the incorrect way. And there's a guy that I follow called Chris Voss. I don't know if you heard him. He used to be the lead hostage negotiator for the FBI. And he said, you have to be if you're not careful how you interpret data, it'll tell you that playing basketball makes you tall. And that's what a lot of our PMs are doing, is they're interpreting data and it's telling them that playing basketball is going to make them tall because they don't understand flow. Okay? So to me, we need to understand, like your question was, what is the real role of the PM? So we need to get that destination. What's the destination? We need a PM that can communicate exceptionally well. He tracks and measures everything and he understands flow.
Yeah.
If we've got those pieces together, all of a sudden we know what a guy looks like, not just like, oh, he's good on Excel and he looks the part, throw him in the hot seat and let's go. So we've got to get crystal
Yeah.
clear on what we want out of them.
And I love that. When I look at that list, like communication, we're talking about with negotiation, Chris Voss. We're talking about Patrick Lencioni. We're talking about radical candor, right? So that can be taught. Tracking data, that's pretty easy to learn. The flow thing for me, well, I don't know. I think this is relevant, but it's taken like, just like you, like hundreds of books to understand it. And I
Mm.
love the rules of flow because it simplified it. When I got back from Japan, I got so excited about it. The first chapter in our second general superintendent book was all about lean, and some of the contributors to that book, because people helped me write those books. I do a chapter a day, and they review it. They were like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! This is a lot." But it's wiring our brain, like you said, and I
Mhm.
loved your point that like we should program our minds with those rules of flow. So the long of the short is, I moved all those lean concepts out and I'm putting it into a book by itself to condense all of it. Um, and I'm finding that it is wiring me. To your point, the rules of flow wired my brain more than anything I've ever learned.
Yep.
Because I was like, oh, at work, hey, this PM can take on this other job at the same. No, 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 that's multitasking, right? Hey, we
Mhm.
got new work, bring it in. No, 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 let's focus on triage. Hey,
Yep.
this team can be dynamic. No, separate small from big. Like, oh, I just have to back up your point big time.
Yep.
That we have got to know those rules of flow. So that third one, I think is going to take some intentional effort from us to get folks trained that way, but I think we're up for the challenge with, and I'm sure you're going to mention some of the cool things you're doing with school and
Yep.
these other things. But let me ask you the second one, because I'm running us out of time.
Yep.
What advice do you have? And maybe it's the same thing, Beanie, and I'm wasting your time. But what advice
No,
would
no.
you have for PMs that are coming up? Maybe it's the same answer, but
Okay. So we've got this fascination in, I don't think it's just the construction industry, but I believe it's across all industries with being experts. Forget about being
Mhm.
an expert, be a student of the game.
ah,
Study the game. You just said it before, right? It wasn't until you studied flow with all the other learning that you'd done, it wasn't until you studied flow that it clicked. You need to be a student of the game. You need to, I have, this sits on my desk when I'm on site. The Theory of Constraint Handbook sits on my desk all the
yeah,
time because that has the 12 causes of project failure on it. Guess what's written up on all of the whiteboards that I've got around site? 12 causes of failure, 9 rules of flow. Guess what I speak to at every meeting? 12 causes of failure, 9 rules of flow. Study it. That's built on data. When I talk about track and measure, you've got 70 years, 7 decades of data that are telling you what you need to worry about. Stop trying to. Christian Burkos, the Afterburner event. I did a call with him the other day, and he said, our biggest problem is, and they said, this is not construction. He goes, we all want to be the Avengers. We want to be the
exactly,
hero that fixes everything.
yeah.
So study the game. That would be my thing for any PM, mate, regardless of how long you've been doing it.
Damn. I just to show I'm listening. Hopefully, you feel listened to. Our book, Elevating Pre-Construction Planning, where we talk about planning and we try and loop in the how big things get done and everything in there. I'm going to add the 12 causes of project failure and the rules of flow as mandatory pre-wiring
Yeah.
before we design any of it. And because we're going to go through that book and update it, and I think that's going to be a game changer. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So um, these are getting fun, Beanie. This
Yeah,
is
man.
fun.
Love it. There's good stuff
Um,
coming out of this. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I can't believe how much knowledge you have in that brain of yours. You must have 3,000 books in that brain. It's really
I read
impressive
a lot.
to listen to. Yeah, yeah. And there was one. I need to remember. There was one I need to ask you about. The other ones I'm with you on, but there was one I need to ask you about. I'll think about it. But as we close out, let me go back. Uh, the Do we want to talk about so if a PM I know we want to mention some of the cool things you're doing, the workshops in the school, so we'll do that right away. But if a PM is listening to the last question, and then we'll go on
Yep.
to the closing. Last question: if a PM's like, "Oh, I think I might be off track,"
Yep.
Is there a test or a gut check or any advice you would give on that front? And then we'll move on.
Talk to your
What
people.
would you tell them?
Run an ORCA debrief. It's not hard. Write it on the whiteboard. Objective, results, cause, actions. Start getting data back.
Ah,
As PMs, they tend to sit in the corner, as I say, and this is not an attack on PMs. We've set them up to fail. Don't be that person. Don't sit in the corner playing with your spreadsheet. Get out and talk to people. Spend an hour. Like 1% of a 24-hour day is 14.4 minutes.
mhm.
Take 1% of your day and spend it out asking people what's going on out there,
That's
and
awesome.
then you'll start getting a feedback. Like you need a like everything should be like, oh, I forget which one of the books it's in. Might be Jim Collins or someone like that. Flywheels are the most important thing for us. Create loops where each time you go through the loop, you get stronger and stronger and stronger. Just spend 14.4 minutes per day asking questions or running a debrief session. Listen to
I
people.
love
They'll
that.
tell you what's going on. Yeah. That would be
And
my gut check.
I'm not used to your cadence. I'm sorry. I interrupted you twice. It just hit me. Plus delta is fine, but orca is better than a plus delta because sometimes people are like, plus delta, what did you like? Well, this person might like black licorice or salt mackerel. I don't to give two shits what they like. It's did we
Yep.
meet the objective?
Yep.
What results did we get? Causes and actions, and we'll get real data every time. I
Yep.
freaking love this.
The
Okay, well, oh,
nameless, blameless. It got
oh
to
yeah,
have
yeah,
those
yeah,
two, right? Yeah.
yeah.
If you don't have
That was
those two, it becomes a shit show. But you must have those because
and
otherwise it's
there's
opinions, right?
agreed and hierarchy, and somebody might the people that
Yeah.
are closest to the ground might not even speak up to your point.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. All right, Beanie. Will you close this out? Can you talk about your upcoming events and the things you're doing with school, and then we'll sign off.
Yeah, right, mate. Yeah, so I have a community on school. As I say, it's to help bring these things from the ground up. It's not just the PMs. We tend to take the approach where we try to push everything from the top down. And the way that I saw one of your posts this morning about construction's not broken, we just haven't given people the right processes to be able to execute properly. That's what I'm trying to do. There's stuff that I speak to here. We spoke to a PM today. Anyone can take this stuff and learn it. Anyone can go and study the 12 causes of project failure and improve the area that they're working in. Anyone can do that. That's all school's about, is just sharing those stuff. There's some stuff in there for PMs if they want to level up, or if you want to take the PM's job, learn this stuff and you'll move up as well, man. But it's all about sharing what's out there. I mean, you've built some brilliant tools, Joyce, yourself. Your Miro boards.
Thank you.
As I say, when I'm on site, my walls are plastered. And if you go back and there's a picture floating around somewhere on the last project that I'm on, where I've got all your stuff up there, your meeting structures. How do we do, what do you call it, your walk-arounds? We built it. That saved us so much time, mate. Well, I just sent the guys your video. I went, go and watch this video. This is how I want you to do a pre-walk before we go to a punch list. When we get to a punch list, there should be no punch list items if you follow this.
Yeah,
It's all there.
I agree.
So it's about using the resources that we've got in the industry. It doesn't matter you're one side of the world, I'm the other side of the world. It can all be shared. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's all school's about.
I love it. And I need to. So I candidly, I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to get on there and check it out. I said this last time, but we're about to have the Super One mural board completely. It's all complete with lessons. I bet I'm going to find that school's probably a better place for it. So I'm coming. I will get. In fact, I'm going to ask for some help. I'm going to get on school before
Yeah,
we
man.
meet
Yeah,
next. And
sure,
I
sure.
want to. Didn't mean to interrupt. And I want to close out with a quote that you put in our notes for us. No one ever made a difference by being like everyone else.
Yeah.
P.T.
P.T.
Barnum.
Barnum. Yep.
P.T. Barnum. And I'm going to write because I hadn't heard that before. If we, it's exciting to improve and to be different and to, and I hope everybody's been able to take something from this because I don't want to build the same job over and over. I don't want to make the same mistakes. I don't want to do the same thing day in and day out. I want to get better and better and better. And I think what you're doing is great. And I look forward to our next one. So anything before we close?
All right, we've said enough
Okay.
today, mate. We've given them enough to go away and think about. And well, don't think about it. Don't just. This is the key to it, right? No point listening to this stuff and going,
Yep.
"That's a great idea," and then going back out and doing the same stupid things that we're doing before. Take one thing,
Agreed.
action it. Go and do a debrief. That's your mission. Whoever's listening to this, doesn't matter where you are, whether you're swinging a hammer or you're the PM, run a debrief.
Love it. It's awesome. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you on the next one for project failure cause number 3.